Am I just posing for the camera? Getting what I want no matter what I have to move around? I cautiously say no. Pose in proper mechanics when you can. Be conscious of how the character's physical body mechanics operate and translate and rotate things on the rig accordingly at first. This will help you avoid problems as you begin to break down the movement. This is not to say that you should never push the rig as you need to achieve a desired silhouette or a feeling of force. Just be mindful of proper body mechanics as much as you can to avoid later headaches.
So what I want to do for you in this pass is show you how I set up any one pose. I want to go through my process of what parts of the rig I start grabbing first and what I'm thinking of in terms of balance and weight and momentum and centers of mass and all those sorts of things, as well as emotional intent, the body language that each of these poses is going to the emotion that this body language is meant to convey. And then after laying out the entire all the beats, I'll come back and then I want to walk through why I made these choices and what's going on in the body and what I think it's communicating and what sort of criteria that I use to know that, yep, I think this beat works. So bringing this down into my field of view here, I want to scan through and look at see what are my sort of tentpole beats. This pose, the wanna see the rats, that's my first peak. That's my first anchor that I want to start with. And then heading forward, you won't be able to buy any. This is probably the next one. Want to see the rats? You won't be able to buy any. Then this pose, where she says nobody buys them. They only rent them anyway. Up in here. So I would go up into this smug, to the intentional look, and then I'll break down this gradual change afterwards. So really, those are my 4 or 3 peak poses that I'm going to jump on right now. Want to see the rats? Buy any? Nobody buys them, and then I'll come back and I'll start breaking down. So let's go ahead and look at finding the first of these anchor poses, which is this pose right here. The do you want to see the rats? All right. Now, if I go back to my video reference, let's pull this up on top here. Want to see the rats? In my video, I did it big. I really sort of leaned down, and then you won't be able to buy any. I did smaller. If you remember, I was making the choice to flop those around. So what I'm going to do is just scrub forward to where I said you won't be able to buy any. This movement right there. And analyze what's going on there and try to strike that pose. So let's look at the extreme of where this pose goes. What I've done is, what's happening here is my torso weight, if I flip back to scrubbing, my torso sort of, the weight transfers a little farther over my right foot. So my entire core is kind of going that way. While this part of my torso here actually bent down that way. Well, actually this part bent down this way, and this top part of it kind of bent the other way. I just increased the curve of it. So that stuck my butt out, and then my head on the neck also kind of went that way and twisted around. So I'm giving the appearance, or I'm turning my body away from the boy even more with the arms still crossed, and then having to compensate by turning my head a little bit farther and trying to push it at him, but pushing my butt at him at the same time. Like, you're not important enough for me to actually really talk to you, so here's my backside, but then I'm going to push my head towards you because I have to, because you're that stupid that I have to talk at you. You know, it's this great conflicting idea that, like, when the child doesn't want something, when they're like, you know, they're looking at it, but they're turning their head, they're holding their hands away, and they're like, I know, no, you know, but you still want to see it because it's gross, but I don't want to touch it. Also, you know, what I'm going to be thinking about is what face I'm going to put on that pose. Which I said I liked this kind of this. There's so many things I like about this look. I love the fact that the brows are up. I mean, this is complete compression. You know, all this is just going up, 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 up right here in the brow. And then really nice, long, curved upper eye. Lower lid is up. There's a lot of white, you know, up on the top of the eye. It gives this look of surprise, incredulity, and then this sneer on the top lip. Not being able to see the bottom teeth. It's all about the top teeth. Little sneer in the nose. All of that, but then face is stretched, you know, because the jaw is open. All of that to me has this, again, there's a nice conflict in there. It's like a happy brow with a disgusted nose and a suspicious eye and a partially smiling but sneering mouth. All those things in combination give me that very basic kid-like look of whatever. I mean, just that says something. Even though I can't even explain it, it says something. All right, so let's think about this pose. I want to find pretty much where she says want. Do you want to see the rats? So I'm going to scrub over. What I need to do first here is take this core, slide it over, rotate it around so that butt is out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start bending these FK spine controllers. I have the option, and a lot of rigs do, where I've got this IK hip. I could have just pushed that over, but and then I've got IK chest too that I can move around too. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you just push those into place to get the pose that you want, get the silhouette that you want? My argument is that's not how the body works, and you're going to lose. You're going to have to fight so hard to get a sense of force and weight in your body because you're using forces that don't exist in the body. You know, we're not a marionette. We don't have something attached to our hips that pulls it where it needs to go. The reason this torso is going over there is because this foot is pushing up and pushing my torso to the side. And then it's pushing my core to the side. And what's happening is the upper part of my body is needing to compensate and lean over to adjust that center of mass, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this, she moved over, so I'm going to adjust that center of mass a little bit. I'm actually going to bend it forward a little bit, and I'm going to twist this because she's going to twist her shoulders around just a little bit more. Let's take a look at that in the camera. Yep, see, that's what I want. And she's going to turn this head towards him. Yeah, that is getting there. To me, if I just look at it in the camera, it's a pretty good start. All right, if we go back to my video reference, what I want to point out and what I really want to do is look at how my flabby chin is pushing into my shoulder. I'm really getting this, and that's kind of it says something else. It's saying, it's almost like I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at you from behind my shoulder. If she were to come out in front of the shoulder, that says something different than this, behind the shoulder. And I think I want to stick the butt out farther. So let's do this a little bit more. Let's push this over, push it back, and make sure she's balanced. I'm going to bend this forward and down. Bend this chest back to compensate. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that. All right, let's get a facial expression in here on her. If I go to my video reference here, upper lids are really far open. The bottom lids are going across like that. I've got nose and mouth sneered. So let's find ourselves a good face. You want to see the rats?